How much punishment can a floor wax really take? We'll find out on...
Fight back, don't let anyone push you around. Fight back, stand up and hold your ground. Fight back if someone tries to do you in. Fight back, show them that they just can't win.
We'll see just how much future floor wax can take in our commercial challenge. Do some medical ads promise more than the doctor can deliver? We'll have a special report. And I'll demonstrate how the government's used car guidelines do not provide the protection we need in the marketplace. And how Fight Back spoke and the U.S. Postal Service listened after our viewers complained about postal insurance. All this right here on... Thank you. You know, this is probably the only television program that starts out with a commercial. But we're not trying to sell you something. We want to see how the commercial sells floor wax.
Have you ever wondered why we make Future shine with tough acrylic? Because we know what your floor goes through in a day. Future with acrylic, the tough shine for your high-traffic floor.
I guess there's no doubt about it. They really do put Future Shine to a test. A tricycle, a broken dish, a pair of heavy shoes, a dog skidded across it, a basketball, and what else? Let's look at it again.
Because we know what your floor goes through in a day.
Does anyone know what's missing? Now that's an aware group of folks. A pogo stick. Yes, we left out the pogo stick. Now, this is the kind of commercial that our Fight Back testing crew loves to challenge. Watch what they do. We follow the instructions on the bottle by cleaning the floor thoroughly with ammonia and water and let it dry for several hours. We applied the Future acrylic floor polish evenly over the surface. The wax and excitement started to build. Now we had to wait for the wax to dry. Our floor beaters are working themselves up into a frenzy. They just can't wait to get a crack at that floor. The timekeeper says the floor is dry. Let's go to it. We have a floor inspector down on his hands and knees to better scrutinize what damage, if any, has been done. It looks like Future has passed, but wait, he says, let's do it again. After all of our attempts to destroy the acrylic finish, there isn't even a scuff mark on that floor. You can't find one anywhere. It passed the challenge. But you know, I wonder how it would stand up to the ultimate tester. What do you think, audience?
No way.
Pretty good answer. Well, it doesn't matter because Godzilla is not a member of our Fight Back testing staff anyway. And you know, we're going to be right back to Fight Back after these messages.
It does have a Star Wars aura about it, but it still has its limited applications. I don't think that you can do bunion surgery and have the patient, go dancing.
You know, it's becoming common for hospitals, doctors, and healthcare professionals of all kinds to advertise. Medical ads are like all other advertising. They can either inform or mislead people. For example, phrases like walk in, walk out microsurgery. the latest in laser technology for treating foot disorders. Easy, quick, and practically painless. This type of ad bothers many podiatrists who say that only a fraction of the foot disorders people suffer are really that easy to treat.
I don't think that you can do bunion surgery adequately in a lunch hour period and have the patient, go dancing. They think that they can come in over the lunch hour and have that performed and go out dancing that evening. You have, number one, someone who has attracted that patient by false and devious means, and number two, a patient that's coming in that is really not aware of their body and what they're naive with regard to medicine and their own body.
Lasers are a relatively new tool in foot care, but podiatrists like Dr. Gums say the laser's usefulness is often oversold in podiatry advertising.
It does have a Star Wars aura about it, but it still has its limited applications. Laser in podiatry right now is not used for bone surgery. It's used for skin and skin appendages. That means ingrown toenails, fungus nails, warts, keloid scars, to help flatten out the scars. I get better results. I think the patient heals faster. It cauterizes blood vessels while you're using it. The laser has great applications for skin, but that's it.
So how do you protect yourself? Here's what some state podiatry examiners told me. First, anyone considering foot surgery should get at least a second opinion before agreeing to any so-called quick and easy office procedure. Ask what the chances are that the problem will reoccur if treated in that particular way. Ask about the doctor's background and experience. And if you're not satisfied with the answers you get, I suggest that you find another doctor. Otherwise, you may be in for a painful disappointment. For years, consumer groups have urged the Federal Trade Commission to adopt a rule requiring used car dealers to tell their customers about known mechanical defects in the cars they sell. And for years, car dealers successfully fought off any such regulation. But the FTC has adopted a rule for used car sales. Now, it's been in effect for such a short time that it's hard to say how it's working, but it does have its flaws. The major one is that it applies only to the warranties dealers offer on their used cars. The new FTC rule simply requires used car dealers to post a notice on each car telling the buyer whether that car is for sale as is or includes some kind of warranty, for how long and on what parts. This so-called buyer's guide also advises the buyer to have the car checked by an independent mechanic before deciding to purchase it.
The thing that the FTC tries to do is to try to help consumers and businessmen know what the terms of the deal are before they sign the deal, clarifying who's going to pay for what if the car breaks after I buy it. We think that the buyer's guide that the dealers will be required to post does just that.
That disclosure statement is a long way from the rule first proposed by the FTC, which would have required dealers to inform buyers of any and all known defects in every vehicle they sold. But to enforce a rule requiring disclosure of known defects, the FTC would have had to investigate and resolve disputes with every one of the 90,000 used car dealers in this country. The Commission decided it would never have the resources, the money, or the people to do that.
The difficulties in enforcing something like known defects is, among other things, was this defective at the time it was inspected? Was it defective at the time it was sold? Or did it only become defective after it was sold? Then we've got a basic kind of private dispute between an individual that's best resolved in, for example, an area like the courts or small claims courts, and is not very well resolved by a federal agency trying to decide which one of these two people has the better of the argument in an issue that becomes somewhat subjective. Obviously, no one can force consumers to be good shoppers and to be prudent consumers, but the buyer's guide attempts to remind them of some cautions that they need to exercise. Primary among those is to have the car inspected by an independent mechanic.
I'm certainly in favor of independent mechanical inspections on used cars. For $20 or $30, it's a good investment for any prospective buyer. But I still don't think the FTC's warranty disclosure rule gives all the protection that we need. Now, New York State has a mandatory warranty law for used cars, and it looks good. The New York State law requires dealers to warranty the major mechanical components on every used car they sell. Now, that covers the drivetrain, brakes, steering, and the radiator. Cars with less than 36,000 miles on them are covered for 60 days or 3,000 miles. Those with higher mileage are covered for 30 days or 1,000 miles. The Attorney General's office in New York says the new law is working well, even for the dealers. It gives customers more confidence in buying from a dealer rather than a private party where every car is sold as is. The Federal Trade Commission remains opposed to federally mandated used car warranties. But individual states could adopt such a law, and I believe it deserves the careful consideration of every agency, organization, and legislator who is seriously concerned with consumer protection. And we'll be right back after these messages.
We'll be reprogramming our integrated retail terminals to flash a reminder to both the clerk and the customer to ensure for actual value only. David, thank you and your viewers for helping us fight back.
I have an example proving you can fight back and win, especially if the power of mass public exposure is brought into play. On a past Fight Back program, I did a story concerning U.S. Postal Service package insurance. I found out the post office was not telling its customers the whole story. The story started when a viewer asked the question, if I insure a package with a post office for $100 or $200 and it's lost, how much will I receive? The obvious answer is the customer would receive the amount for which the package was insured. Right? Wrong. Postal authorities gave me an answer that I wasn't expecting.
If a person comes in and insure a package for $100 or $200, they get the actual value of the article, not what they insure it for. In the event of a loss, many people are not aware that they will not be paid the actual insurance fee, so usually they have a shock, not realizing that they're not going to get what it was insured for.
I felt the post office was not making this information clear to everyone. I thought they should make up a sign and post it in each and every postal facility. The wording I suggested is, the post office will only pay the actual value and not the amount for which the item is insured. Postal Service officials listened. This is the main post office in Washington, D.C. So what I decided to do was to come here to see what the U.S. Postal Service was doing to let the people know what they're buying when they're paying money for postal insurance.
David, we're going to be doing three things. First of all, we'll re-emphasize in all of our window clerk training that the clerk should inform the customer to insure only for actual value. Secondly, we're borrowing your idea of a screen-line poster. We'll be putting that poster in over 40,000 post offices nationwide. The poster will say, mailing something of value, use postal insurance, but don't overinsure. And finally, we'll be reprogramming our integrated retail terminals to flash a reminder to both the clerk and the customer to insure for actual value only. David, thank you and your viewers for helping us fight back.
I want to thank the U.S. Postal Service for being so aware, but I also want to thank you, our viewers, for letting us know about the things that bug you. Valid complaints and mass public exposure can change the system. Since postal insurance started in 1913, consumers have probably overinsured for millions and millions of dollars without knowing it. Look for these signs at your postal facility. Insure only for the value of the item and keep receipts to prove what it's worth, just in case that package is lost. Now, let's go to some more viewers with questions they want me to answer. Now, these questions were asked to our teleremote crew while we were out of our studio videotaping some of the segments from the program. Our first question comes from Wendell Hall.
David, my question is, I try to drive within the speed limit, 55 miles per hour. Often when I do, other drivers honk at me and call me names. Within the law, what should I do? Should I speed up or should I maintain a 55 mile per hour speed limit?
Well, first, Wendell, let me give you a little background on the law. It was enacted by the Nixon administration in 1974 and put into law in order to conserve on fuel and also cut down on highway fatalities. And according to the insurance industry statistics, it has been very successful in cutting down the highway death rate. Now, here's the answer to your question. According to highway officers, they recommend that if you are traveling at 55 miles an hour and have someone honking and tailgating you, you should change lanes, allow the person to pass, and I hope the highway officers take care of the speeder. That's their job. If you see someone driving in an extremely dangerous or reckless manner, then take down their license plate number, pull over, and report them to the nearest law enforcement agency. Our next question comes from Marcia Chorpash.
David, a few years ago, the airlines were charging half price for children. In today's economy, the airlines are charging almost 4/5 of the adult fare for children 2 years and above. How can we as a consumer bring our children on vacations if they're charging such exorbitant prices for the whole family? I have children 2 years and above, and it's impossible for us to take the children on vacation. How can we as a consumer speak to or work with the airlines to lower these fares so the whole family can go on vacation together?
Marcia, we talked to several different airlines and found that in almost all cases, a child's fare is 75% of the adult ticket and has been that way for some time. Now, my advice is to use your phone and call various airlines or have a travel agent check on the different special fares and discounts being offered. It costs you nothing to have a travel agency do the work for you. Probably the cheapest fares are the Super Savers. They are booked at least 30 days before the flight. Super Savers don't offer a children's discount because of the low price, and they have many restrictions. But a Super Saver fare would still be less than 75% of the regular coach fare for a child up to 17 years of age. The key is to do some homework using a pocket calculator and a travel agent. But remember, as far as airline costs are concerned, it doesn't matter whether a seat is occupied by an adult or a child. And our next question comes from Valentina Suarez.
I've seen several commercials on TV that announce that they have a hidden camera on it, and I was just wondering if those people in those commercials, are they actors or are they just people that were there in a restaurant or whatever they make it? I would like if there is anybody making sure that there is really a hidden camera on it and then the people doesn't know about it.
Valentina, a lot of people ask that question. According to the Federal Trade Commission, there is no written standard regarding hidden camera interviews unless the advertising can be construed as deceptive. And a commercial that claims the people do not know they're being interviewed and uses people who were told in advance about it would certainly be considered deceptive. Now, there is no enforcement person present at hidden camera tapings to check up on how it's done. But most networks that air these commercials require the advertiser to sign affidavits as to the validity of the commercial. I don't think any product manufacturer wants to risk fooling the public. If they did, it would shake public support of the product and the company. That's too big a shot for any advertiser to take. And I'll look forward to answering more of your questions on future editions of Fight Back. And we'll be right back after this break. Inflation and the high cost of living had Colleen Fredlake of Milwaukee, Wisconsin puzzled, especially after she saw this ad. Blockbuster savings, it says, a dozen donuts for only $169. Now, here's the part I really like. There's a 2 dozen limit. The Dunkin' Donuts people in Randolph, Maine told us it was a mistake, which obviously we figured out, so did Colleen. Some people think when a mistake is made in an ad, the company must sell the advertised product at the printed price. I'm sure no one feels that way about this offer, not at $169 a dozen. By the way, Dunkin' Donuts was really offering a dozen of its delicious donuts at $1.69 a dozen. Big difference in price. Do we have some more time?
Yes.
Okay. On a past program, we talked about several ads for mail-order items that were sent to us by viewers. One of them came from Mrs. Barbara Davis, who lives in Phoenix, Arizona. It said, "Become invisible or triple your money back. All it cost was $5. So, we sent a telegram to the mail-order company Hocus Pocus Magic Enterprises in Bridgeport, Connecticut, to get the kit. What we got was a return telegram saying, quote, Hocus Pocus Magic Enterprises, 350 Roger Williams Road, delivery attempted, returned. No such address. Hocus Pocus Magic Enterprises has apparently disappeared. No, wait a second, not me. Hocus Pocus. Now, on the surface, this could seem like a real joke, but in reality, it's possible that a lot of people sent in their $5 and got nothing in return. What do you do if you're in such a predicament? What I suggest you do is to contact your local postal inspector and report it. Thank you, Colleen Fredlake and Barbara Davis, for sending us these ads. We're going to send each of you a Fight Back t-shirt. And remember, it's no magic to stay aware and informed and fight back, and don't let anyone rip you off. If you'd like to write to Fight Back, here's our address. Fight Back, Burbank, California, 91523.